So with few exceptions, other departments don't need sound, but we need them. And those exceptions are basically like giving out context if you're doing process trailer work and a first AC needs to actually listen to something to hear their cues, or maybe an AD or PA needs to send background over a certain cue, and they may ask for a comtech as well. Aside from that, maybe batteries or cell phone charge, but that's about it. I mean, most of the time they don't really need us, but we need them. I mean, we work with every single department on a set. Pretty much. I mean, maybe exception, it might be makeup, but even then, if you do special effects makeup, you'll be working with them. If we need a light flagged off, we will go to the grips. If we need a ballast turned to 60 hertz silent mode, we'll go to the electricians. If we need a light fixed, we may go to the DP. If we want to point out something, we may go to the director or the first AD and ask them for something. If we need background to be quieter, then we'll interact with the PAs and maybe the second. My point is, every single department will interact with us at some point, even props, set deck, everything. So you want to be on your game and you want to be as friendly as possible to them. Now, I know that there's sometimes some old salty people that have been around for 30, 40 years, and perhaps they just have a demeanor, but that's when your experience sells. And people will know from your actions that you are on your game and you can probably get away with certain things. Just like how some people can get away with things and other people can't, same kind of thing happens. If you're extremely good at your job because you've been doing it forever, people will note and they will act accordingly towards you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will like it if you're rude to them, but as a rule of thumb, what I do is I always say, kill them with kindness. If I'm talking to someone else on set, I have a martial art background, so naturally I have embedded in me the sirs and ma'ams. So I will say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And people will say, oh, don't call me ma'am or don't call me sir. And I will do my best to accommodate that. Sometimes it slips out though. I'm not suggesting you have to, totally do that and, do something that maybe isn't embedded in you. But keep in mind that killing people with kindness, being the person on set that they are happy to see. When you wake up and you're in a groggy mood, and I go to set, and I'm just like, just didn't sleep well, long drive in, was starting to, I don't want to doze. So I'm like bug-eyed, just trying to stay awake. And I go over to catering and I go to grab some breakfast and I'm just like totally not in the mood to talk to anybody. And someone greets me, hey, good morning, Alan. How you doing? I'm like, hey, dude, how's it going? If I'm like dragging or something like that and like everyone in the world is saying hello to me, it does kind of end up perking you up a little bit because you do end up talking to people. And that interaction with people on set comes from the rapport that you build up. Now, part of that rapport comes from the fact that you are good at your job and you do it on a routine basis and you work well with others. But part of that's also being nice to people and working with them from a point of view of you're a professional, they're professional, and you are pleasant to work with. My goal on set is to try to be someone that people don't look at and say, oh, there's Alan again. I try to be someone on set that is pleasant, that people say, oh yeah, I actually like working with him. He's a nice guy. And good at his job. Because nice guy doesn't cut it. You can be a nice guy and not know jack, and you're going to, they'll be nice to you and help you out probably. But it's better if you're good at your job too. Now, with regards to working with other departments, the big thing I will tell you is don't tell them how to do their job. It may seem like if you have a green electrician or a green grip or a green props person and you need something done, you may say, okay, can you go ahead and just do this for me and tell them exactly how to do it? Avoid doing that. As a general practice, what I will do on a show is I will try to tell them what the problem is. Like if I'm shadowing on a back wall and I'll maybe go to the DP and I'll say, hey, can I get your eye for a second? And I'll show them anything you can do about this. And I'll wave the boom around, let them see that there's a shadow going back there. And they'll say, yeah, let me fix that for you. Great. Thank you, sir. Now, if they send over a green grip with a 4x floppy or something like that to try to cut that light, and that grip is not exactly seasoned because he's green, then what I might do is I might say, here, let me throw the boom out there and I'll wave it around. That way he sees it and he knows how to cut it. If he doesn't do it exactly to my satisfaction, what I may do is, because I'll know also from a point of view of what they're actually lighting and what they should and should not cut. And if the key grip is nowhere around to actually help him direct him or whatever, because, key grip stepped off because most of the lighting is done, or he's off directing something else amongst his team, and I have somebody here, I'm not going to abuse it. I will say, let me throw the boom out there, let you see exactly what you're cutting there. And if he starts to cut in too much, I'll ask them. Because here's another really interesting thing. You can ask questions that lead people to the right answer. And it's simply by asking a question that makes people think that they know the answer, and therefore they think of the answer themselves. So, I could very well say, you can't cut down below that line because you're going to start cutting into the lights of the actors. But what I could say is, does that work for you? Are you able to cut down that low? To right at the hairline of the actors? Does that work? And they'll say, oh, no, I can't do that. And they'll correct it. That's one thing I could do with somebody green. But most of the time, I'll just throw the boom out there and say, yeah, there you go. That works great for me. Or can you give me any more if that happens to be the case? My point here is, don't tell them how to do their jobs. Now, granted, a DP will love to tell a boom operator how to do their job. Can't you just go up higher? Can't you just play the lav? Can't you just stand over here? Do you have to do this? Can't you underboom? They're going to tell you all this kind of stuff. But I can't tell them, well, can't you just drop the light a couple of inches? Can't you diffuse the thing because it's kind of directional? I can't do that stuff. I can't say, just kill that light for me. I can ask, are you using that instrument, sir? And that would be the way I might ask that if, for example, there's can lights in the ceiling that are the practical lights part of the location. And I may say, got a question for you. That instrument right there, are you using that one? And it may be a light that's built into the set, and they may say, yeah, no, I can kill that. I can get that unscrewed for you, no problem. Or I may black wrap it or something. But by asking if they're using it, or if the DP is using it, another question I've sometimes done with DPs that I get along with, I'll say, might you spare me a little illumination from this source right there? Or, jokingly, obviously. And, it's all relationship, right? It sounds kind of weird when you word it that way, because I'm not just like, excuse me, Mr. DP, I got a question for you. Might you spare some? I'm not saying that. I'll joke with people on set. I'll cut up with them. I'll joke. But of course, I'm still trying to be quiet because sound is one of those departments that's best not even seen and definitely not heard. But we'll interact a little bit. My point here is, when I'm talking to people, I'll be respectful. And I also will ask them questions that will maybe help lead them to my problem or the solution I would like. If you get a DP willing to help you with something, then obviously be very respectful to them because they don't have to help you. A DP that does not want to work with you won't. Plain and simple. I've worked with some DPs before that I've started to ask them, I should say, and they've cut me off. Could they do something about one of the many front lights that they've been using? And as soon as I ask them, they will instantly cut me off and say, you're not the first boom operator that's hated me, and you're not going to be the last. And then turn and walk away. And I'm like, that's going to be how the show's going to go. Great. It does happen. DPs are not always great with dealing with sound. Some DPs come from music videos. As a matter of fact, a DP I worked with maybe 8 years ago or so, he had only done music videos, and music videos does not deal with sound recording. So he would say, okay, bring the dolly over here, set it up over here on the track, do this. And I would ask, is the dolly going to come how far is the dolly going to come down on the move? And I'd be working that with the operator. And then the DP would quickly, in the middle of the shot while we were rolling, he would come over and start telling the dolly grip to push, 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 push. And suddenly the dolly's all on me. And I can't do my job anymore because it's crushing me into a wall. And I do mean crushing. I don't mean just it's imposing on me or anything. I mean, they jumped the dolly off the track and continued to push. And there was no place for me to go because behind me was a wall. In front of me, I'd be in front of camera. So I really had no place to go. DP obviously did not seem to care. And his thing was, as soon as they cut, is to yell at me for being there. Even though I can tell you in this certain circumstance that I'm recalling, I was there and I did ask, how far this way do you think you're going to go? And that was when the DP was right there. Doesn't matter. Sound was in the wrong. Sound's always in the wrong. Just like if sound drops a boom into the picture below the frame line, that's sound's fault. But if a camera operator tilts up too high, that's also sound's fault because the boom got in the shot. People at Video Village looking at the monitors, they don't look at it as boom operator did his job and the camera operator actually held too much headroom. They'll look at it and say, oh, we saw a boom in the shot. That's one of the things that is a bit frustrating from a sound perspective, but it's something that we deal with. Anyway, I'm getting totally distracted here, sidetracked here. I guess you could say my main point here is when you are working with other departments, kill them with kindness. If you kill them with kindness, they're more likely to do things for you in the future. Don't ride them too hard. Don't tell them exactly what you need from a point of view of, I need you to do this. Cut this light with this. No, and if a DP says, I'll give you some black wrap on this light. Say, no, actually, I need a bottomer. That's going to be a bad move. Don't do that. If a DP thinks they can do it with black wrap, obviously let that happen. If it's not working out when they put the black wrap around there, just keep waving the pole around there and showing the grip that's fixing the light for you where you have the problem, because you don't know everything. You could be mistaken. I have thought there's no way in the world black wrap's going to be possible for this. And then a key grip has directed somebody and said, no, push up on the bottom or go in from the sides or snoot it out a little bit more or something like that. And all of a sudden it covers it. I'm like, wow, I didn't think that was actually going to be possible with black wrap, but it's done the job. When you're dealing with department heads especially, keep in mind that they are department heads on set. You are not a department head. You are actually the second in the department, but the top person on that set, because the sound mixer's back in a closet someplace set up, and listening. But you have to carry yourself as a department head. You have to carry yourself with the authority of the sound department without having any power. That is some heavy shoes that you have to wear and tread around on set, yet you still have to tread lightly. Because remember, they don't need you, but you need them. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.